And when people
I crave an authentic debate. Not one of these is a real debate. These
no,
are
they're not.
Q&As.
They're not. But they're authentic moments of, hey, wait a minute, he couldn't answer that, or wait a minute, he didn't take that.
See, and I think, for me, the biggest problem with all these debates is not so much that there's 7 of them up there and that they're tearing each other down. It's that the moderators have such a clear bias against them. I'm not saying that they should get a homer to run the debate, but when you put you put David Gregory there.
They should be negotiating.
You put Wolf Blitzer there. You're not going to get the way the questions are.
Listen, if this was the other way around, would the Democratic Party go on Fox and have Sean Hannity as the moderator? Because that's essentially what the Republicans have agreed to do.
You know who I think would be a good moderator for a debate? There's 2 guys. One is sitting right here. And the other one is a national radio host on another station who will go nameless, but I think he would be very good too, because these guys ask questions in a non-slanted way
to just get have anything they wanted. They could negotiate the format they want, the moderator they want. The networks are coming to them asking for these.
And I think part of the problem is they so much want to try to be liked by the viewers that these networks control that they're just rolling over.
And there's a fear factor. They're afraid to look like they can't take it.
All right, we're back with more Gang of 4 on a Friday morning, but first it's 10:45 into the newsroom on 550 KTSA.
I sincerely
I think you.
Enjoy your afternoon. 10:50 on the news and talk of San Antonio, 550 KTSA. Gang of 4 on a Friday, how we kick off the weekend. We're in our 15th anniversary season of Gang of 4, by the way.
Yeah. I was on the first Gang of 4.
I was on the, no, it was me,
no, I was on the very first one.
And Judge Wolf.
No, you weren't on the, I was on the one with Judge Wolf and you weren't there.
I was on the first one.
We can probably get 3 rounds out of this.
I know I was the first one, and it's in my date book. I keep all my
Jack
date books.
just told you it was the first one.
Let me know when you.
He was on. She was the first one. I wasn't your. I thought I was on your first.
Robert,
show.
why don't we go get a cup?
I was going to say I'll buy.
I've told everyone I was on with Chris Duell and you, and I thought it was Judge. I was there the day Judge Wolf had meltdown.
Maybe he subbed for Judge Wolf.
Maybe you had 4 plus you, and it was Gang of 4 plus Jack.
Well, then maybe. Well, I know I was. I thought I was in the first.
If you think
you were on the first, and we were there the same
If you think I'm taking a position in this argument, you are crazy.
I was there the day that Wolf got all red in the face and wagged his finger at Jack, and they had a big fight. I was there.
Yeah. Well, that happened in the early years, but that wasn't the very first one.
Thought I was on the first one. Well, goodbye.
You were on the first one of the second year.
I want you to feel.
Can I just be first just once?
I want you all to feel like you were on the first one.
Well, the first year.
I don't even remember the first one.
It was 1997 at the other station.
I don't remember last week. Yes, it was at the other
97. Station. That can't be 15 years then. I thought it was 97. 96?
It's the 5th. You know, we've been doing it since 96.
We can't 96. Do math in our heads.
Okay. Well, it was when you first came to town, and
I came to town in 94.
You've been here a while before that happened.
Yeah. We were doing the show before we started Gang of 4.
Yeah, and you were.
Maybe I was just in the first season. I thought I was on the first one.
But I'll tell you a quick funny story. When I came from Brand X over to KTSA, the programming genius that we had here at the time sat me down and said, we're hiring you. We love what you do. Just a couple of changes. There's just two things you do that we don't want to continue. Gang of 4 and the listener lunch. Yeah, except for those 2 things.
The two biggest things that made you successful over there.
You're fine.
Don't do those here.
Yeah, don't do those here at KTSA because we've got a better.
That happens so many times with every field. I hear about that happening with musicians too.
And I liked your Gang of 4 at night the best of all the ones you've done.
Well, thank you.
I like that too. I used to swing in.
That's because the gang participants could drink before they got to the station.
Yeah, I know nothing about that.
I know you.
Well, what we'll agree on is that we were in the first year. We were in the first year. We've been on the show since it started.
You can come before me, Ken. It's okay. I know.
I'll check that date book and find out that first date. I keep all my calendars.
How long is this feud going to go on? Kathy, I think you should just let it matter.
He's been asking us back. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
That's what matters.
Do you have the 15 years of hair like they do, so people can see what they look like early?
I don't want to look at how I've aged since 1996.
None of us do. And look.
15 years of pounds.
When Jack and I first met, we both had no gray hair.
We both look like Justin Bieber when we started.
I've always been blonde.
Robert at least admits he wasn't here for the first one.
I was not here for the first several years, and I was never blonde.
And Taylor wasn't even born.
Well, you know what you can say, Robert. Or you know what you can say? You've actually subbed on this show.
Oh yes, absolutely. I've had the pleasure of done it several times.
Herman Cain.
Herman Cain, that's right.
So imagine.
So like,
if he
brushed with
greatness, I can say he may be the president, but he was just the fill-in.
He was a fill-in on my show.
All right.
Actually, that could be great for you if he becomes president.
How, Ken? How will that help?
He would be your inside.
You would probably have a direct line to the red zone.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
exactly.
He could, like you do Monday with the mayor, the
FCC. Notice how often he's appearing on the show right now.
He could be the head of the Federal Communications Commission.
I mean, in terms of your access to the president for interviews.
I can't get him now. He's a candidate. He won't come on. No, I don't think it's going to work. But I just thought I'd mention
it. They all forget about it, don't they?
You all eventually forget.
No, I remember I was the first.
Here we go again.
All right, into our next half hour, we'll have our lightning round. We'll wrap up Gang of Four, and Ken and Cathey will fight in the parking lot. It's 10:54, the news and talk of San Antonio, 550 KTSA. Karen Klaus, the Tsarina of News.
Good morning,
And Karen Klaus saying good morning to our Gang of Four. I'm sure you enjoyed, as we all did, Karen, Ken and Cathey arguing about over who's been on Gang of Four longer.
Well, the good thing is we can both honestly say we've been with you since the beginning.
Well, and I think the reason they're enjoying this is because my memory is so bad I can't settle the argument, so they're able to both claim that they're right. Yeah, who knew there was this kind of competition for that? I had no idea. All right, so I love this story. They're apparently not making biker gangs like they used to. A turf war between Hell's Angels and a rival motorcycle gang has left several men dead, wounded, or missing in 3 states. It started at Starbucks.
That pumpkin spice.
That sounds like a song.
The president of the Hells Angels San Jose chapter shot to death another member of a rival gang, wounded in the melee. It started over a turf battle at a Starbucks. I didn't even know they went to Starbucks. I thought they went to bars.
I bet Starbucks didn't know they went to Starbucks.
Yeah.
I'll raise you one latte.
I've seen lots of choppers, lots of Harleys, never saw one with a cup holder.
I don't. It's disappointing. I'm really worried when they go to Hobby Lobby. I think that could get out of hand.
Or what's that other place where you buy lace?
It's 11:09, the news and talk of San Antonio, 550 KTS.
Sorry I don't have that one off the top of my head for you, Ken.
And that's all you need to know about Ken Slavin. That's it, in a nutshell.
It's one of those, those craft places where you buy fabric.
Too late, Ken.
Joanne's fabric.
Too late.
That you even know that? You need to just stop.
It's from when I made up my Austin Powers costume a few years ago.
Too late.
Too late.
Already much too late.
Do you put lace on your Austin Powers costume?
Well, yeah, the cravat. I made it.
Oh,
just
that's
wait
right.
till they're done. Oh, wait, they'll never be done. I have to keep going. All right, Cathey, Meyer, Ken Slavin, Robert Fleming, who's beginning to feel a little bit like the innocent bystander.
Really?
Who will have to fill out the police report.
That's what happens when you weren't on the first show.
When this is all over.
Secret clubs.
I don't even know the handshake.
All right, I'd like you to hear something. Pull out your headphones. I want to play something that the president said at a fundraiser in San Francisco this week. This is Dr. Obama diagnosing what's wrong with America circa 2011. Take a listen to, this is cut 2 done. Ambition and our imagination, we're not the country that would build a Golden Gate Bridge. Really?
Seems like we're building lots of bridges. Don't know if they're going anywhere, but we've got a few under construction.
Weren't they part of the shovel-ready package?
Is it true? I mean, isn't this sort of like the leader saying, I can't lead these people if they don't have the ambition? And
I think it's part of his...
I feel like that as a teacher. I
really?
mean, that's not such a far-off statement. It's not something I want my president to say.
I think the president is constantly, since even before he took office, he's constantly putting down our country and making it sound like we need to settle for less. We're not what we were.
We're just darn lucky to have him.
He insults me. It insults me when he talks about our country that way. I can't stand it.
Where can you get laced, Ken? No.
President Obama knows.
But is it
Ambitious lace.
Isn't it in fact the case that, you know, we just mourned Steve Jobs the other day. I mean, isn't it in fact the case that maybe the thing that has changed the least is that America is a country of dreamers and visionaries and innovators, and we are still...
And that's why people are going against his messaging, because we still believe in ourselves.
And we need the government to get out of our way so we can unleash that creative power.
In fact, if anything has changed since the time of the building of the Golden Gate Bridge, which was almost 100 years ago, it might be that the Golden Gate Bridge was built by the state of California because they needed a bridge, whereas today we would have to have the environmental impact study, years of court challenges,
That's why
the federal government.
Get built today.
So we might not be the country that could just up and build the Golden Gate.
Why doesn't
We
anyone
regulated ourselves out of it.
Why doesn't anyone stop to think that, you know, Obama didn't become president by lack of ambition and imagination? I mean, he's a living example of what you can do in America, too.
Right.
That's what's so bizarre about him making a statement like that. It's not true.
Right.
It's putting down the people of this country and making them think they have to settle for less.
Well, I think he speaks the truth, but he doesn't need to speak it publicly.
I just don't think it's totally true.
I think there is a lot of ingenuity, and there is a lot of people willing to work hard and build their American dream. But I also think we're raising a generation of kids that operate under a sense of entitlement.
We've already raised that generation.
That's probably two generations
that don't
or three
understand
generations.
the issues of hard work and the issues of suffering and the issues of sacrifice. And there are all these young people out there that think that I'm going into an entry-level job and I need to make $50,000 a year. Well, that's not realistic. You know, so many of us started at the very, very bottom low end and worked our way up.
And then went back.
And
a couple of times.
In this economy, that's happened to me.
And you've ridden the roller coaster, but we have all these parents that say, oh no, I'm going to take care of that for you, I'm going to fix that for you, I'm going to bail you out of debt.
Well, I can see your point to some degree, but I don't think imagination and ambition have ended. I just don't see
I don't think that.
Right. And then you would really
stifled.
You would probably then, if you believed what you were saying, Cathey, then you would dedicate yourself to that education system and generating a different outcome, a different output of that system.
I totally agree with that.
But instead, he's one of those politicians that has essentially preserved and defended the status quo of public education. So you can't complain about the outcome.
Dramatically needs to be changed, right?
Now, let me ask you about this. Speaking of education, we talked about an article this week, and this is a classic case in journalism of what they call burying the lead, where the most salient fact of the article is in the middle of the article. But it was a story about how a private school in the Silicon Valley that's actually attended by many of the children of Google executives and other high-tech executives, this Waldorf school has done away with having computers in the classroom. They want the kids to open books. The teacher uses a chalkboard. They believe there needs to be more human interaction, creative thinking, interaction between the student and the teacher. They're afraid that the technology is getting in the way of that. And their argument is, hey, these kids have their whole lives to use computers. They have computers at home. In the classroom, we want to make sure they can write. We want to make sure they can form letters. And it was an interesting approach. But in the middle of that article, talking about how ironic it is that here you are in the Silicon Valley in a school that doesn't have computers, it mentioned, just passingly, that the McAllen ISD, poorest metropolitan district in the country, has spent over $25 million buying every student iPads.
Oh, I thought it was the first graders in kindergarten.
No, all 25,000 students will have iPads. And, of course, if you do the math, right away you realize they didn't get a very good deal
on the
iPads.
Should have gone to Sam's.
But,
they bought them from that truck at the corner of whatever.
You walk and don't walk.
Should every kid have an iPad?
No.
Oh, gosh, no.
Absolutely not.
Why not? I had people, Cathey, calling.
First of all.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that's a first.
I don't have
Who's responsible for replacing the iPad when it's damaged or lost or sold or
I
stolen?
have people telling me, oh, no, this is the way of the future. These kids have got to...
And we're moving toward that. We're one of the campuses that, through the Northside bond issue, we're being upgraded in technology. And they now have carts that you can bring carts into the classroom so every kid has a laptop. And there's not one for every kid, there's one for every department.
Right, right.
And it's really valuable. I mean, I don't agree that we need to totally go back to Little House on the Prairie education.
Right.
But I think there's a good balance of education where you incorporate technology. But the study I want to see, if I was getting a PhD, it would be just the brain development of these kids that only know how to use their thumb to text, have not really been forced to write. And even back when I was doing the gang business, we did a lot of study on graffiti and tagging and how you track it based on the formation of the characters. And then it got into this brain study about how your brain develops because of the eye-hand coordination of writing, and writing is so important at the early ages to connect some of those brain parts.
Right.
And now that kids aren't forced to write anymore, what's happening with the connection in the brain?
I think another thing that gets diminished by this immersion in technology is they've lost the ability to develop critical thinking.
That's what I was
skills.
going to say. It's the critical thinking. Everything is right there. They push a button, this stuff gets there, and interaction with other people.
And they don't.
I know people who never talk to anyone. All they do is they're like this wherever they are.
But it's not the loss of critical thinking. It's how you present that instruction. And I've done plenty of lessons that are totally technology based, that you can pull out pieces of it and you can get the kids to interact in groups, and you can have thought-provoking questions, and you have to respond
in
to
an
some
effective
kind of
way. Are you?
Oh
really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But it's tough to do because technology is so erratic in the public school, and then the kids do go home and they're not regulated by their parents.
Which makes the case for maybe that it doesn't have a place so prominent there because of the fact that it's not available to every school district. Even if it is, it may, it depends on who's using it and their level of sophistication with using it. And maybe it would be just better if we didn't use it as a crutch and didn't depend on it because of the fact that there's no way you can make it
This is classic of my daily
homogeneous.
battle. A third of my kids will walk into my classroom and not have a writing utensil, not a pencil, not a pen, nothing. And my first question to them is, do you own a cell phone? Yeah. Well, then buy a pen, and I'll call their parents, and their parents say, well, I sent them to school with, something to write with, but they don't even come into a classroom. They can't come into third period, third class of the day, ready to learn. And it's a battle for every educator just to get the kids in a place to be ready to learn. And I don't think that's a fault of technology. That's a fault of parenting.
Oh, and the biggest problem in education is a lack of involvement on the part of parents. And part of it, too, is the fact that you see children whose parents have them so over-involved that they go to school for, especially the grade school kids. They're on the bus stop at 10 to 7 in the morning. 7-year-old kids, 6-year-old kids, and they're there till 3 in the afternoon. Then they're shuffled off to the piano lesson or the soccer or the baseball, and it's now 8 o'clock at night when these kids show up home. They're absolutely dead tired. They got to have dinner. Maybe they do the homework, and the parents put them to bed at 10:30 or let them stay up till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And the 7-year-old kid, it's a constant.
I've also seen the trend toward where there's no such thing as a summer vacation. Every kid is doing programs through the whole summer to get an up on everybody else. There's never any time.
But then you're back to that argument of why do we need a summer vacation? We're not an agricultural society anymore, and that was the whole purpose of how school was set
I
up.
still think kids need a break from the structure.
I totally agree
of
they need a break, but
a chance to just be kids.
But education is so antiquated to where we are as a society now, and the candidate that can come up and say, all right, here's how we make that transition.
Yeah, but that's got to be a local issue. I don't really think the President of the United States can get up there other than to say we need to find ways to strengthen our schools. But it's got to be a local issue. It's got to be about the moms and the dads with the kids in the schools and their interaction with those school administrators to say this school is not getting it done. Our children are not learning what they need to learn, and take control at that point, because that's really where it happens.
What about the expectations that we're setting? If an iPad is free, Cathey, you brought up the point about whether or not they can even, keep from getting peanut butter all over it. But just the idea that if you start out at the level of an iPad 2, I hate to prepare you for this, but someday in life you might have to use a desktop or an Acer,
a rotary phone.
I just think that this is another example of starting at third base and thinking you hit a triple. You're not setting the expectations right. And as some of the callers pointed out, I thought very intelligently, for the described use of the iPad, things like textbook downloads and so forth, you could have gotten them a Kindle for like a 10th of the price, probably a 20th of the price. So I don't even know that this is anything but throwing money at education.
And it hasn't worked.
I
at
mean,
this point.
it isn't that we're against using technology. It isn't that technology shouldn't be in the school and part of education. No one who's arguing against the free iPads is arguing there shouldn't be any computers. I just don't think you need to give every single kid.
I didn't say it was a great idea.
Oh, I know you didn't. But I mean, it's interesting how quickly the debate devolves into, well, don't you care about the kids learning, and don't you care about them being prepared for the 21st century and having technology? I mean, is that how we show we care, by how much money we spend?
Well, but I always like to
But see,
tell
that's been going on since the
That's a
60s.
societal
And when will we have reached enough? It has been going on, Ken, our whole lives.
You know, we may be at the
how much
point
will be
where
enough?
that happens, because the fact of the matter is that there's not enough money to sustain all the things that the nanny government's doing for us. That very soon, we're going to be faced with the having to make the hard choices, and children will learn that, you know what, there isn't enough. There's not enough money. We can't do it all. And the problem is that we, meaning I'm 56 years old, so, you know, I'm a baby boomer on the front end. We bought into the BS that we could have it all, we could do it all, we could achieve it all, and we could pay for it all, and then somehow we deserve it all. And that's just not life, and that's not how it goes. But we've fostered this with our children, and they're now fostering it with their children. Mm-hmm. And where does it stop? It's going to stop. It's going to be very hard, because I think that, going back to our initial topic of Occupy Wall Street, those people are starting to get hit in the face with cold, hard reality. They bought into a canard that can never come.
Yeah, you do have to be a stalker at Walmart for a while you wait for the right job to open up and get that experience and learn. And you know, there's so much you learn.
You work your way up to the
jobs.
iPad.
You learn how to work with all different kinds.
I keep hoping I will. I can't afford an iPad.
Yeah.
And I still
Well, if
have.
you get this
Sorry,
lightning
hello,
gig,
flip
maybe.
phone. People keep laughing at me because I don't have a smartphone yet. They'll say, "Didn't you get my email?" I'm like, no, I wasn't at my computer. I mean, that sounds insane, but some of these things
Hey,
right now, with the way my business is right now, I can't afford these sorts of things. Those are luxuries. As long as I have the basics.
Oh, but Ken, you deserve an iPad.
No, I don't deserve one. I don't deserve anything.
All right.
You deserve to be
I have to
one.
work on Ken's self-esteem over the next
You
break.
deserve really good lace.
All right. Group hug, and then
Therapy.
the lightning round.
Therapy.
It's 11:24 on 550 KTSA.
Hey, that's your title right there. San Antonio, the studio.
Studio San Antonio.
Write that down. Write that down.
This is really short.
It is 11:30 Friday morning. Gang of four. I can't even say winding down. These this bunch could just keep right on going. But in any event, a few more minutes with the gang. Cathey, Meyer, Ken Slavin, Robert Fleming, and you're voting in the JR poll at 599-55-55. It's time for our lightning round. I know
Well,
you're.
in this case, the lace
I know
round.
you're ready. Yeah, it's the lace round.
Oh, enough of that. Enough of that. You don't want to get on my bad side, Cathey.
Look at the earring.
Well, Hillary Clinton, if she decided to run for president, would mop the floor with every single Republican candidate, according to a new survey that is just out. It isn't even close. Time magazine says, Hillary, why not? Do you believe that, or are we just so disillusioned with politicians that we always think we want the one that's not running?
Oh yeah, everybody wants what they thought would have been the good choice the last time around. Not that they would have been, but they want them.
So the one that got away, that must have been the one.
Oh sure. How
I
could we have been so
thought it's
stupid?
interesting. There's been no discussion at all about Hillary and a presidential campaign. And I can't imagine, I mean, she's excellent at what she does as Secretary of State, but I can't imagine
Really?
that...
I was going to say, maybe they don't want
Really?
you because of everything she's destroyed around the world.
I was gonna say.
Well, but okay, well, I'll take that back. Maybe excellent's not the word, but she's been pretty consistent. And she hasn't consistent on both ends.
Okay.
But she hasn't made any rumblings about running.
No.
And I just thought that was curious after the last election that she didn't even come out and say, I'm not running.
And the more she
No.
says that, the more popular she seems to be. So I'd like to announce I am not running. But seriously,
But you're moderating the debate.
but seriously, I mean, I seem to recall that, you know, people didn't have a very good feeling about her in 2008. They didn't like some of the smear stuff against Obama. They associated her with Hillary Care, although in retrospect that now seem like halcyon days. But in any event, I find it, and then she's become Secretary of State, where I don't know. She seems very low profile in that job compared to her recent predecessors. So I don't know if she's doing a good job or a bad job, because frankly, I'm not sure what she's doing at all. Therefore, I'm puzzled by this Hillary nostalgia. I didn't think we liked her that much to begin with.
Yeah, they didn't ask me, because I wouldn't have said I'd vote for her.
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really trying to understand this.
No, it's just
I don't see it at all.
I agree.
Well, I'll admit, at the time when they were making the final decision, you know, on the Democratic candidate, and it ended up being Obama, I would have preferred to have had Hillary Clinton as the Democratic candidate anytime over Obama.
Oh yeah,
and I never thought I would say that, because I was never a fan of hers. But when faced with the choice, I would have gone for her over Obama any day.
All right, speaking of popularity, here's a little trivia question. Of the top 15 highest rated television programs of this TV season, 2 of the 15 are the first 2 episodes of 2.5 Men on CBS, because there was the whole deal with Charlie Sheen leaving and Ashton Kutcher. So the #1 most popular, most watched show was the season debut of that show. 2 of the 15, 2.5 Men. What were the other 13 highest rated TV programs?
The Big
Can
Bang
you guess?
Theory.
Are you talking on just network or also cable?
Across the board.
Real Housewives of New Jersey.
No.
Big Bang Theory.
No. I will give you a hint. It is
Closer?
not
60 Minutes.
It is not a sitcom. It is not a drama. It is not a reality show.
Bill O'Reilly?
It is not a news program.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Cartoons.
It must be a cooking show.
Oh. What's Mike Judd's Beavis and Butthead?
Yeah, you're really getting close. No, it's actually NFL broadcasts.
Oh my gosh.
Right behind 2.5 Men was the Cowboys-Patriots game a few weeks ago on Fox on Sunday night. The 3rd highest rated show of the season was the NFL kickoff game between the Saints and the Packers on a Thursday night. And it's interesting, isn't it, that I don't know if that says something about the popularity of sports, or whether it just says that what's on television.
What's on television
so
isn't
bad.
that great, but I also think it's escapism, because people are so unhappy and poor and worried right now about our country. I think they're going for anything that makes them feel good.
Like the Cowboys losing?
But then why wouldn't they?
No, but they're
the Patriots.
But I'm also saying they don't know when they go to tune in to watch the game.
Right.
They don't know who's going to win at that point. I think it's a throwback to the Depression era of the 1930s when people were escapism.
What are the ratings of the World Series? Is any of that coming
They're
out?
low. They're low.
Really?
Yeah.
As good as that game was last night?
Well, but see, we didn't know the game would be that good.
And the teams are not major market teams.
Yeah, but I bet tonight that's going to be a high rating just out of
Should be.
Oh, yeah,
This is
it'll
the
be a
first
big
Game
game
7 in a decade.
Yeah,
by
it'll
the
be a
way.
big
My life is
I think it just speaks to the dearth of quality programming on network
Right.
television.
Here's what passes for a sports scandal in 2011. New England Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski has had to address the issue of posing shirtless. He was shirtless with an adult film star named B.B. Jones. You know B.B. Jones.
Who is not shirtless.
She was wearing his uniform shirt. For this, he had to apologize if he hurt the reputation of his football team. What happened to professional sports?
Oh man,
That's ridiculous.
Really?
I thought
Dude.
that athletes went shirtless all the time.
And compared it with porn stars.
Right.
The story here is that nothing happened, but
Right.
they took the picture.
That's
That's a sports scandal?
Apparently so, in these modern, caring, sensitive times.
We need Joe Namath, and we need him yesterday.
Really.
All right, a new survey of Republicans asked which of the declared Republican presidential candidates would you most like to have dinner with? Who do you think was the winner of that survey?
Of the Republican candidate?
Of the Republican candidates, who would be the most engaging dinner companion?
Kane.
You say Kane, you say Kane. Robert?
I would say Bachman.
Bachman.
Kane would bring the pizza.
999.
I'm drawn to Kane. I think he's great.
Oh, I think he is too.
The winner by a landslide, Herman Cain. 29% said they would like to dine with him. Guess who was second? This surprised me.
Newt Gingrich.
Newt Gingrich.
That was second. I don't see that.
Well, he's very erudite. He's just seems to.
But he never shut
Bring
up.
a lovely hostess
You'd
gift
have
from
to-
Tiffany's.
You just want to eat. By the way, Perry in 5th place.
They
So-
just told him to get McDonald's.
Although I
and
want to
stop
say,
by.
I've told you this, I've met him twice
You
and
say
worked on
he's-
events with him, and he's a very compelling person.